What's up everyone, my name is Gazaby, welcome back to the vlog. This is the 7th episode of the LA trip. Trip so far on your screen right now, off to a rough start, but we're trending in the right direction. So yeah, that's the intro. We're gonna jump in and play some 5-5-10. Hopefully it's a good game, hopefully we get lots of hands, hopefully we win lots of money. Let's check it out. Alright guys, let's get this game started. Playing 5-5-10, but we're straddling today, so it's a 2k buy-in instead of the usual $1,500. I'm also going to win $600 in this PLO double board bomb pot hand. Great start to the day here. Normally I lose money when I start off with these PLO hands, and hoping the day's going to get even better when I pick up pocket aces very early in the session. What's more, I've just put the $40 straddle on. Fortune favors the brave. My buddy J-Boogs is going to raise to $125 on the button, the small blind calls, and I of course put in the squeeze. I make it $375 to go. Boogs gets out the way, but the small blind decides he wants to play for all his chips. He moves all in for around $550. I of course make the call. He's got ace, 10 of diamonds, running it twice here. Surely we can hold.
Bad beat. Scuba bomb pot and then immediately we're going to
Diamonds!
Diamonds!
Show us the diamonds!
Oh, that's a bad.
This one's gonna hurt even more with
8
the
of diamonds!
Oh, ace of clubs.
10.
Lose both. Yeah.
A bit of a sweaty run out on both boards, but we managed to hold and scoop in this really nice pot. Off to a great start today, winning the bomb pot, winning with aces. And next up, we've got pocket kings. J-Boogs has raised to $60 in the cutoff. I make it $240 to go, and he makes the call. The flop is king high, a rare set for Gazaby on this trip. I'm going to c-bet for $135 and my opponent makes the call. The turn is a 9 of spades. Queen Jack gets there, but if he's got that, it's just a cooler. I bet out for $450 and he very quickly folds. He says that he wanted to turn a very sneaky 2-pair there. I ask if he's got 4 deuce suited, he laughs. Something tells me that I have just nailed his exact hand. I'm up $1,300 for the day after about an hour. This is pretty good going, guys. Next up, I've got King Jack offsuit in the cutoff. The hijack is limped in. I make it $80 to go. Like I said, we're playing with the straddle today, and he's gonna make the call. We go heads up to the flop. It is Queen 10-4. Open-ended straight draw for me here, so I bet out for $80, and my opponent raises relatively quickly. He makes it $250 to go. I think for a few seconds, and then make the call. The turn is the 4 of spades. My opponent checks it on over to me. He's very ABC, so I expect he's just gonna have a lot of like top pairs and stuff here, so I just check it on back. The river breaks off. It's the deuce of clubs, not what we were looking for, and again he checks to me. Like I say, this dude is very ABC. He's not gonna have any bluffs here. I think he's just gonna have a lot of hands that are gonna call on the river, so I decide to not bluff. This is an exploitative play, and very happy I decided not to bluff because he's got queen 6 of diamonds. Versus most players, I would bet the river here, but like I say, I think this guy's going to play very face up and he's just going to have top pair very often. Lots of middling pots today that are not going to make the vlog, hence the jumpy profit tracker. Hopefully you guys don't mind that. Next up, I've got pocket 9 in the cutoff. I raised pre to $50 and Boogs is going to make it $200 to go from the middle blind. Action is back on me and I make the call. Now, I've called a lot of 3-bets on this trip with pocket pairs and have not yet flopped a set in doing so. I'll make you guys a deal. If there's a 9 on this flop, then the 50% or so of you that have not yet subscribed to the channel have got to pause the video and click the sub button. Do we have a deal? Let's go. We go to the flop. It is 10-9-3. What are the chances? At last we have called a 3-bet and flopped a set. My opponent c-bets for $200. I'm not doing any raising with any sets on this board. I go ahead and make the call. The turn is a very annoying jack of spades. Flush gets there. King queen gets there. Aces are now no longer going to triple barrel. Really, really annoying. But my opponent isn't slowing down just yet. He bets out for $400. And I am going to just call again here. I don't think we want to shove, so I do go ahead and make the call, just praying for the board to pair, and it's another jack. Let's go. I've gone from a set to a full house, and now my opponent checks. A little disappointing. I think he's just going to continue with all of his flushes. Still, you got to try and get paid somehow. I move all in for $2,600. My opponent immediately sits back in his chair and says that it's so sick. He really doesn't love this spot at all. Ryan Feldman, the producer of Hustler Casino Live, comes over to talk to J-Boogs, and J-Boogs shows him his cards. He's got ace king of spades. I can't believe this. Surely he's gonna pay me off here. Surely he can't consider folding a flush when I have some worse flushes in my range. He thinks for a long time, and eventually sticks in the call. Let's go. This huge pot is coming my way. J-Books doesn't love it. He asked me if I would shove a worse flush there. I say absolutely yes. I'm being truthful when I say that. I would definitely shove a worse flush here. There's massive pots coming my way. What a smooth day so far. Next up, I've got pocket jacks 15 minutes later. Under the gun limps in. I make it $80 next to go. The small blind calls, under the gun calls, and the flop comes down jack 8-3 rainbow. This is my third set of the day and we're 2 hours into the session. This could be my biggest winning day at this rate. I'm going to c-bet for around half pot. Both players just fold. I show my cards and the table just fucking hates me at this point.
How you do that? Fucking card draft down there.
Put me in the big game, coach.
Like I said, the table absolutely hates me, but kind of in a nice way. It's been a very good day so far, a very fun table we've got. A couple of fun hands coming up. I'm just going to play them with the audio. Let's check them out.
Can I make it easy?
Oh, that would be good.
You can.
Okay.
There we go. $80 straddle. Let's go.
You can jam going right.
Mariano, third.
230. I have to raise in my hand, but I can't. I have to fold now.
You know, I have to raise in my hand.
No, you don't have to. You chose to. You chose
But
to.
I'm better than you. I have a better hand than you do.
Nice answer.
Lots of fun today, lots of big pots, and next up we've got a PLO double board bomb pot hand. I've got 10, 9, 5 deuce, and these are the two flops. Action is just going to check round on the flop, and on the turn I lead out for $200, which is the size of the pot. Middle position makes the call, and the button calls as well. The rivers are good ones, and I decide to bet $400 instead of potting it again, and the reason is that when you've got two players that you're playing against, and you're guaranteed to win one of the boards, you're going to be chopping up someone else's money if you get called by two players. So instead of potting and only getting called by one and maybe chopping or whatever, I bet out for $400 hoping that both players call and then we're guaranteed to at least make some profit on the hand itself. But both players are going to make the call and neither player can beat me. I'm going to scoop in the entire pot. This is absolutely fantastic. This is a really, really smooth day so far. I'm winning the PLO hands, I'm flopping sets, I'm getting all the money, I'm getting paid, etc. And things could be getting even better when I look down at pocket aces in the straddle. The button is a young kid, he raises it on up to $80. The small blind calls, the big blind calls, and I squeeze here, I make it $375 to go. The kid on the button makes the call off of about $1,500. The small blind gets out of the way, and the big blind decides to call as well. We're going three ways to a very bloated flop here. It comes down king, 10, 8, rainbow. Decent enough start here. I bet out for $400. The button makes the call, and the other player gets out the way. The turn is the 3 of hearts, and I think we've got one option here. I just move all in for around $1,300. Fade the snap call, which is always good. After about 45 seconds of thinking, my opponent makes up his mind. He makes the call. Now, before we see the river here, I want to talk about something. I used to always instantly say to my opponent, do you want to run it once or do you want to run it twice? I'm used to be a run it twice kind of guy to kind of minimize variance, but nowadays I'm just so withered and dead inside that I don't care anymore. I don't say anything in this spot. If my opponent says once or twice and they want to go twice, I'm happy to go twice, but I never ask anymore because I just don't care. It's just whatever happens, happens kind of thing. My opponent also doesn't say anything, so I guess we're going once here. The river is an ace. What is this day today? He cannot beat top set, of course. And another massive pot is coming my way. I've now got an $8,200 stack in a 5-5-10 game. This is kind of crazy. I've only been playing for 3 hours as well. It's just a sick run good day all day today. Let's keep it going. All right, next up I've got king, jack of spades in the small blind. The cutoff raises to $50. He's an unknown player that's new to the game. I'm going to put in the re-raise. I make it $225 to go, and the cutoff makes the call. We go heads up to the flop. It is jack high, relatively connected, lots of gut shots on this board. I would normally bet half pot on a board that's so connected, but the stack to pot ratio is a little lower here, so I size down to $160. When you're shallower, you tend to favor smaller bet sizes, just trying to keep the stack to pot ratio in line. My opponent thinks for a few seconds and then makes the call. The turn is the 7 of hearts, lots of draws on board now, so I bet out for $600. It's actually slightly less than what my opponent's got in his stack. He actually very, very quickly announces that he's all in. It's $685 total. I, of course, make the call. My opponent asks me, do you want to go twice? I say, yeah, sure, no problem. First river is the king of hearts. and the second river is the 3 of spades. My opponent turns over his cards. He's got Jack 9 of diamonds. Another one bites the dust. Another stack coming my way. Now I've got time to count my stack here after dragging in another massive pot, because just a couple of minutes later I pick up ace king offsuit in the straddle. Could this day be about to get even better? The small blind is going to raise to $50. He's another new player to the game. The middle blind is a local pro. He makes it $160 to go. Before I can act here, the small blind tries to call out a turn. I say, hold your horses, buddy, I'm still in the hand. And then I make it $400 to go. The small blind actually thinks about it and then says fuck it and moves all in for 1k. I don't think this is an angle. This is an older fella, clearly not doing this intentionally. The middle blind gets out the way. I of course make the call for $1,000 total, flipping for a couple of $1,000 here. Surely the way I'm running today, this is a lock.
Hold on, I'm all in already. Whoa.
That's gonna do it. You win.
Aces again?
Yeah, man, aces.
My opponent turns a set and I couldn't find the diamond to suck out on him. A slight misstep, and again, no time to count my chips, because in the very next hand we're playing again. I've got king jack offsuit in the big blind. Under the gun raises to $50. Middle position calls. The button is the guy from the last hand. He calls. I call out the big blind, and the straddle calls as well. We go 5 ways to the flop, and it is jack high yet again. Decent start, but less so when we're 5 ways to the flop. We check it on over to the button, and he's going to bet out for $225. I make the call, everyone else folds, and we see an offsuit 3 roll off on the turn. My opponent then says friendly bet and bets out for $210. I absolutely love this. I love the characters that you play against in this casino. Again, I make the call, and as the dealer is about to deal the river, my opponent is saying no spade, no spade. He's saying this out loud like no spade, no spade, no spade. The river is an offsuit queen, and he bets again for $225. I pick up the calling chips, not really likely to put it in, but just picking them up to see if I can get a read from my opponent. I do actually get a read. He's fidgeting, he's excited, he's looking at me, he's looking away, he's playing with his phone and stuff like that. He's clearly loving his life, so I do sigh and just let it go. Not hero calling with second pair here. He turns over pocket aces, which is a little surprising because he was the 3rd player to put money in pre-flop and decided to just call. Still, he must know what he's doing because he managed to milk me for a few $100. I finally get a chance to count my stack, and it's around 7.8k. What's really interesting is that it was 8.2k, and I was like, wow, I'm up so much money today. And then I won that pot with king jack, and then lost the ace king and the king jack, and my stack is back to what it was before those 3 hands. And the voice in my head is like, oh, I'm only up X amount for the day, which is the same amount as 3 hands ago when I was really happy. It's funny how the poker brain works sometimes. It's been a really awesome day. I'm running so good, but I've had a thumping headache all day, and the game is not as good as it once was. So I grab a couple of racks and start to rack up and head to the cashier and say my goodbyes. It's been an amazing day of poker. I've ran so good, and a big winning day. Alright guys, that is the end of the day. The good news is I won a lot of money. The bad news is I've had a thumping headache all day. I'm in a lot of pain right now, so we're going to skip all the facts and figures. I'll put them on the screen now. And that's it, that's my spiel. I really hope you enjoyed the show. Click the sub button if you did. What heat we had today, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.